So you get the idea, right? Or Alice in Chains. Check this out. This is really cool. Hello, welcome to a new video. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Glad you are here. We are going to be looking at MegaMagic Guitars Part 2, which is out. There's a version 2 of the library that is out. And it adds the Back in Black, the Marshall stack, Alice is Not Happy, which is the Alice in Chains stacked kind of detuned thing. In fact, check this out. Without the distortion. That's the sound. And it's two different MegaMagic guitar samples. Just has the right amount of attack. We're going to make a distorted guitar from scratch using the sine wave. And we'll compare it with the MegaMagic guitar samples, and we'll show also the built-in Strat that's inside of Omnisphere to compare and see what the distortion sounds like with them. So that's coming up. But I want to briefly talk about these bonus patches. There's 25 bonus multis that are really cool and different and fun. I can't even play them because it takes my computer down right now. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. But the other thing that's added, and we're going to play with these in a minute, is on the effects over here. Here's the standard bonus racks that come with every library that I sell for Omnisphere, which cover effects, mix, distortion. This is a new little folder with all these different effect presets to call up different distorted guitars. So you can all sorts of distorted guitar presets are here for you to I love doing that. So one of the things I want to show you with my new website that's really cool, and I'm really happy that this works this way, is that when you have logged in and registered, you can go up here to your My Account, and anything that you buy, we're about to finish the importing. It's been a very long process to get the importer properly aligned with the data from another e-commerce company that I've used for 7 years. And so we're getting to where pretty soon you will see something like this. If you've had a number of transactions with me in the past, we're importing them in, but it's going to take probably another week before we get it all done or more. It's a real slow process. It's really painful, but it's coming out good. We've figured out how to do it. If you click the view details and downloads, in this example here, I gave myself a credit for MegaMagic Guitars Part 2. And as you can see, there's now two different things to download. And if you read the instructions, you'll see that it says only download version 2. Maybe by the time you see this video, this won't even exist, and it'll just be version 2. Version 2 has all of these bonus, the multis, the bonus patches, and these distorted guitar presets. That's all included for free. And what's kind of cool right now at the website is I can add bonus additional content to any library in the past just by going into the back end and pushing a couple buttons, and now it's linked up. So who's to say there might not be more patches in the future that will be bonus for MegaMagic Guitars Part 2 or another library. It's really exciting. So use that. If you have MegaMagic Guitars Part 2, you didn't hear that there's a version 2, now you know. So come and get it. It's right there in your user area. Okay? Let's initialize this patch. And instead of a sawtooth, let's go to the sine. And you can do some things here. This resonance, even on the sine wave, you're changing the energy that's going to be going into the distortion. So see how it changes in volume? That becomes really important when you start dealing with these. So real briefly, when you got the upgrade to Omnisphere version 2, it came with these additional distortions, a whole bunch of amplifier simulated type of things of different amplifiers, analog chorus, the Selena ensemble, the analog phaser, the flanger, the vibrato. There's even like some new wah that's really cool. Those were put into Omnisphere because they were going to release Keyscape. And because the parameters inside of Keyscape have to be the same as they are in Omnisphere, because I can go over here and say Keyscape, and now I'm accessing all the sounds inside of Keyscape within Omnisphere. So the parameters have to be the same between the two. So we don't need to be there, but that's why these effects exist. And so if we go to A, actually let's do it here. Let's do it on the common channel. So that way I can easily change between oscillator layer A and B for different sounds, because I want to go between this and B. I'm going to set up to be a MegaMagic Guitars Part 2. Let's go down. Oh, don't do that. Go down the list, down here to Strat, to Softy, Zero Dry. So now I can switch. Let's take it down an octave. Or a sine wave. Okay. So we'll be able to see how these guys hit the amplifiers and the distortions and what that means. So keep it on common. So you just have to turn off one layer and turn on the other layer, and you'll hear them going through, let's say, amplifier. Let's do a rock stack. Your Marshall kind of stack. And the way that these amplifiers and distortions work, the volumes that the knobs I find to the left are the ones that are feeding into the distortion circuit. So the more you bring this up, the more distortion you get. If you want a little bit cleaner tone, turn down the volume, not the master, because the master is just controlling the total output of the volume of the effect. And it gets a little bit different if you go to something like the flame distortion. Here you have pre and post, low pass to high pass filtering. If it's straight up, then it's like through. All the way down makes more of a strong curve of low pass or high pass. And what's cool with this is you could bring up, it doesn't work so good on this sound, but will on the this. Do you want the whole low end? Do some really cool stuff. This is the filter setting, so. Okay. Now this on the output, the post, will control the brightness of the distortion. So the filter is on low pass and it's down a bit. So I can make it brighter. Hear that? So the flame distortion is unique in that it has an input with a filter, which is really cool. Here's where you choose all the different types of distortion. And as we're going to find in a minute, like this, hear how it kind of dies out, right? Well, let's go over here and let's call up something like the Sans amp. And it also kind of poops out, right? But if you turn the two on together, get your order right. Let's change the order. Like I don't want all that low end EQ'd. Bring it up a little. So you can play with all these different settings. Change the order. Instead of this, let's go do something like the metal zone. That or this. Since this is so bright, it's sometimes cool to put it before something to like tame it down. And if you get a number of these, like get the high wattage into, and go through different presets. And shape it a little bit here. Then change the order around. You won't believe. You can get all sorts of distortions by combining these different elements. And let's say for amplify, let's also have, yeah, the classic. This is good for just getting a little air, a little extra hair even. But keep it kind of clean. Then you feed it into something else. And it's also worth pointing out, so if you go to the boutique, what's cool here, you have a whole bunch of parameters that are hidden on the other page. So they're not really hidden, you just have to go over here. And some of them are these stereo amp cabinets are just great. Let's say change that with this. So experiment, have fun with these different amp and distortions. They can work in really cool combinations together. Put an EQ in the middle, like take this guy, put him here, and make this be like an EQ. A 7-band is really useful. So do some scooping. And there's a really useful volume on the back page. So if you're like pegging your levels in your mixer, just bring down the EQ level right here. So that's the fun of having all this available. Now I'm going to show you one more comparison. Let's go over here to A, and instead of being, here's the sine wave. Here it just sits. That's where the MegaMagic guitars are great. They have that energy and sound change. Now, as a comparison, there's also a strat inside of Omnisphere. So let's go over here. And if we go to just all Spectrasonics and type in JC120. And there's also muted and strat. So we'll check a look at all those. Oh, let's turn off the filtering. There, now it's nice and loud. Now that's brighter than... This also has the advantage, believe it or not, of being just one sample, which makes it so that when these different notes, those each have different frequency and energy to them, which we put through distortion. They hit different distortion frequencies and cause it to sound different. And because of how bright this is, if you were going to use any of these guitar presets that we created, you'll probably need to go to the volumes and you know, to be honest, I find it really hard with the distortion to get this strat to work. The others that they have, if we go over here to the mutes, this works really nicely. You'd want to have the release up on the amp. And if you're really going to do it right, let me show you the trick. So you'd bring this to be a fairly long release. You go over here to new modulation routing, and you say velocity to a hidden parameter, to the envelope amp envelope release time. And you have to invert, and as you bring this up, you're bringing the resting point back down lower in value. See how it's short when I play soft? So you can find the right place for velocity. That's a lot more acoustic responsive. That's what I do with the guitar patches, is put a little bit of the velocity to the amp release, because guitar strings have energy. And when you're playing them a little bit harder, there's more energy, so it sustains longer. Okay, so you can do that to even flush these out to be farther. However, that still sounds better, I think, with... Just love that sound compared to, this is the Strat mutes from the factory. It dies away fast, you know, because it's a chunk, you know. Whereas this is steady and consistent. So celebrate distortion. Use MegaMagic Guitars Part 2 and these really cool guitar presets, or just play around with the effects. You could easily go up here to the guitar patches, just to go to one of the softies, dry. Then go to the A layer, go here to the presets and have fun, whatever you call up. And with something like Thrift Shop, you have all these different devices or speakers. There's tons. I mean, everyone's a different vibe, man. Okay? So there's so much fun to play with these, and distortion. And distortion is very useful everywhere, as we know, because that gets us away from kind of the analog clean vibe to have a little bit of dirt to everything. So thanks for watching. Hope this helps. See you soon. Okay, bye.